Hello, everyone. Without further ado, let's get this show started. So, I am Matt, the wonderful host of Cruising.tv. So, we have quite a show today. We have Matt Hochberg on. So, he is the founder of Royal Caribbean Blog. I'm super excited to talk to him. I have not been on a Royal Caribbean ship myself. So, it's really going to be interesting to be able to pick his mind with Royal Caribbean ships. I heard about Birdship. I've seen some of the videos that he went on, but I think it might be a little bit more interesting to see Matt's idea just because he's been on so many of them. So much. We also have our spring break cruise coming up on the Carnival Triumph on March 27th with Cruise Life hosted by Brew Travel. So a lot of people were asking us, where'd you get this shirt? Cruise, yeah. Oh ship, this was sent by, boom. Cruise Day, Cruise Life, so excited. It's awesome. We love when you guys send us stuff. We would definitely show it off for you guys. Without further ado, guys, let's get started, shall we? Hello, everyone. Welcome back. So, again, I am Matt, the wonderful host of Cruising.tv. So, why do I do this? I am a novice cruiser. I've only been on one cruise before, so I don't really know that much about cruising. Each week, I try to bring on some experts who give me a little bit more advice so we can kind of all learn together. This week, specifically, we have Matt Hochberg. So, he runs and is the founder of Royal Caribbean Blog. So, he offers daily coverage and news and information related to the Royal Caribbean Cruise Line, along with other relative topics of cruising, such as entertainment, news, and photo updates, and a lot more. However, we have a couple things to get to before we get to the interview. We have a new thing this week. It's called Show Us Your Face. So we choose a pic that's sent in to us at zach@cruiseweek.tv, and we will show it right behind us, as so. So if you guys have a cruising picture and you want to be displayed, let us know. Send it to zach@cruiseweek.tv. This week we have Brian and Monica McKeel. Hey guys, hopefully you guys are watching the show. Welcome. Also, we have a whole lot of videos up from season one. All of them are up. I am so excited. I've been talking to my parents about them. My parents have been going through them. They're really excited to just kind of see our whole entire adventure because it's something very different versus just kind of like a bunch of kids going on a regular ship and just recording their stuff. We try to do a little bit more, be a bit more involved with crew and cast members alike. So I'm really excited to have all those done. My favorite part was probably the food for the ship. I really, really liked the food. I like food. It's just who I am. Also, if you guys want to check out all the videos, go to cruising.tv. All of them are right there. Also, tips and tricks, maps of the ship, and some little tours that you guys might not know about. So my favorite thing is definitely the food. They have a weird type of food item on the sit-down dinner each night. What was my favorite? I can't decide between frog's legs or beef tongue. Beef tongue kind of sounds a little bit bizarre, but it tastes just like prime rib. It was so tender, so good. Definitely one of my favorites to eat. When we were on the islands itself, I really enjoyed Belize. It was very humbling to walk around the city and kind of escape the tourist trap, as well as go through cave tubing. The cave tubing was okay. The tour guide itself made the trip that much more. He was phenomenal. I would like to give a shout out to him. We will post all of his pictures and some information about it later on. So, yeah, if you guys haven't seen any of the videos for that, we have a bunch of videos of the tour itself, and you guys might get to know the difference between rice and beans versus beans and rice. So, without further ado, we have the wonderful guest, Matt Hochberg, joining us today. How are you doing today, Matt?
Hey, Matt, thanks for having me on here. It's a real pleasure to be speaking with you about something that I really love talking about, taking Royal Caribbean cruises.
Nice. How are you doing? Doing pretty swell.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
It's great.
let's get started. So, what made you want to start your own blog about cruising to begin with?
I was going on a cruise on Oasis of the Seas a number of years ago, and I thought to myself, it'd be fun to blog about it because in 2010 that was all the rage among nerds anyway. And I was looking at some ideas, and I ran across, obviously I needed to put it somewhere, and I was looking at domain names, and I happened to run across RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. I said, "Oh, this is interesting," and I was just kind of something I was like, let me throw it out there because I love doing it. Maybe I don't know who's going to read this thing. And lo and behold, people started slowly coming along, and that was back in 2010, and it's been an amazing journey ever since then, and quite a rewarding one. I've had a lot of fun doing it ever since.
How many cruise ships do you think you've been on in your whole entire career?
Oh my gosh, probably in the ballpark of 20 to 25, somewhere in there. I never bothered to. Everyone asked me that question. I never bothered to actually count exactly,
Hmm.
but something in that ballpark of 20, 25 cruises.
Nice. Definitely a couple more than me. Have you
Hey, we
only
all
been
start
on
somewhere.
Royal Caribbean? Have you been
No,
on
actually,
any?
I've been on I actually started cruising. My very first cruise was on Disney
Hmm.
Cruise Line, and I've also been on Norwegian.
So, what do you like different between Disney and Carnival and Royal Caribbean? Have you been on Carnival at all, or just Disney and Royal?
I've only been on Disney, Royal, and Norwegian. I haven't been on Carnival yet, but I started cruising with Disney. And I really liked it. I love the idea of cruising. I really got hooked on that. And
Hmm.
what happened was Disney Cruise Line's prices unfortunately started going a little more than I was looking to pay. And for my honeymoon, my travel agent said, you can get a lot more bang for your buck if you do a Royal Caribbean cruise. And I was like, I don't know about that. And then I was like, well, I looked at it and I was like, being a pragmatist, I was like, okay, well, we'll save some money, we'll get a better deal out of it. And I was really hooked. I love the balance of what Royal Caribbean offers you versus
Hmm.
what you get. And I've always said other cruise lines may give you more, but you're also going to pay more for it. And other cruise lines may cost less, but I feel like you don't get as much as Royal Caribbean. So I really like that balance of what Royal
Hmm.
Caribbean offers.
You actually just answered two of the questions by Ken Jordan. So he basically asked, how many ships does Royal Caribbean have, and how many ships have you been on? Kind of answer that. So how many ships does Royal Caribbean have altogether?
Right now, they've got about 26 in the fleet. I mean, it kind of fluctuates because they keep on moving ships out of the fleet and coming back in. But they've got four more ships on order. Actually, five
Hmm.
more. Maybe more with the Icon class. But it's a really changing times because there's so much going on these days with the new with there's I mean, except for 2017, we're gonna have basically a new World Cup ship every year, 2018 through 2022, which is
Oh
really
wow.
exciting as a cruise fan.
Hmm. So we have Cheryl. Oh gosh, sorry if I butcher any last names. I'm really gonna try. Cheryl. I'm gonna do it phonetically. Knipe. She asks, "What's your favorite destination that you've ever been on?"
Oh my gosh. I'm going to give you three. I'm going to give you the cheating answer.
Oh
I
gosh.
love Cozumel, San Juan, Puerto Rico, and of course, Royal Caribbean's private destination of Labadee. Sell to those any day of the week. I will be there.
Nice. I really enjoyed Cozumel quite a bit too. It was one of my favorite locations, especially because of all the haggling. Really, really
And
liked the
the
haggle.
food. Matt, I
Oh
know
my
you're all about the
gosh.
food as much
And the
as I
food.
am.
Mm,
Mexican food in Mexico is
can't beat it.
amazing.
Exactly. Also, guys, if you have any questions for myself or Matt Hochberg, leave them in the comments below and we will get to them. So, how much time do you spend working on your blog?
Wow. My wife would probably say too much. But it depends on the day. I mean, it's very much a daily process. I try to put something on the blog every single day. In addition, we do actually a Periscope
Hmm.
every day. We do Facebook Live on Tuesdays, but a live broadcast every day. Work on the blog. Depends on the day. I mean, some days there's lots of stuff going on. Some days there's not so much. But it
Hmm.
kind of varies. It's really my hobby, is what I always tell people. Some people go, they go golfing. They'll go to, hang out with friends at the bar. There's lots of hobbies that people have. Mine happens to be covering all of this kind of stuff. And so this is, I think very rewarding for myself because I enjoy obviously taking cruises and sharing the information with folks because the goal of Royal Caribbean Blog has always been to help people have a better Royal Caribbean cruise. And any way that I can make that happen, I love when people tell me, hey, I had a great cruise. I learned all about this on the blog. That to me is so awesome that people can
Hmm.
have a better cruise experience because of it. So as much time as I can throw in there, I put in there, but I got the day job still, so not quite 24/7
Hmm.
yet.
So, you said you started this, I believe, in 2010.
Yep,
So, how have things changed since then?
that's a great question. The industry as a whole has gotten a lot more competitive, which is great. I always tell people, whether you're a Royal Caribbean fan or not, it
Hmm.
is great when other cruise lines innovate and push the envelope. That forces Royal Caribbean and other cruise lines as well to innovate themselves, and that helps drive
Hmm.
prices down. And that it's always awesome for us. So really, over the years, I have seen this trend to this one-upmanship, which is great, and the industry has really responded quite well. And it's really an exciting time when you think about what we're seeing, what's coming out of cruising today. We're really living in, quite honestly, a golden age of cruising.
Nice. So we have a question from one of my favorites. Suyan asks, "Does Royal Caribbean offer perks for those who cruise often with them?"
Yes, Royal Caribbean's Crown and Anchor Society. I think this is a really cool program. As I mentioned earlier, I cruised with Disney Cruise Line when I first started cruising, and their loyalty program really doesn't give you anything. So when I
Hmm.
came to Royal Caribbean, and like after one cruise, they would give you all these discounts and amenities on board. I was like, oh my gosh, it's like that Burger King commercial where they're like, somebody's
Gosh.
getting fired. It's like there's no way this can be
Hmm.
legit, and it's really incredible. I really think Royal Caribbean responds so much to their customers and looks to reward them, whether it's with discounts, again, onboard amenities, services, events. They do a lot to make sure that people stay loyal to Royal.
How is the food on the ships? That's pretty important to me. Food and drinks.
Absolutely. If Let me tell you something, Matt. If the food wasn't great, I wouldn't be cruising with Royal. This would be some other blog. I love the food on Royal. It was really outstanding. The food ranges for like everything, right? And some things are better than other things. But by and large, I never go. I never come home hungry from a cruise.
Hmm.
It's really they have the specialty restaurants are amazing. Even the main dining room, the complimentary food is really good. And that's what's really endeared me to the cruise line as a whole. Because look, I love to
Hmm.
eat and love to indulge in what's available on there, and there's so much great food to enjoy on board.
So it seems like you're pretty well educated about the food and what to do on the ships, but we have a question from Allison Lawhorn asking for recommendations in San Juan. What can you do there, and what type of food can you get there?
Ooh, good question. San Juan is like I said earlier, it's one of my favorite ports to visit.
Mm.
Number one, San Juan is really easy to navigate because where the cruise ships dock, you're right on the water, obviously. But San Juan is built on a hill. And so everything slopes down towards the cruise ship. So you can never get lost in Old San Juan because if you ever get lost, you start walking downhill, you'll eventually run into the cruise ship again. By far, the thing to see are the forts in San Juan. There are
Mhm.
two. San Cristobal and El Moro, beautiful, amazing architecture and really rich in history. But if you're in San Juan, Puerto Rico, the food you have to eat is mofongo. It's essentially plantains, like fried plantains. Very hard to describe, and I'm not sure this is the most appetizing description you've ever heard. I promise you, it is amazing. You have to try it. So good, and now I'm really hungry. I could go for some mofongo as we speak.
This is why I always try to eat a little bit, have a little coffee before coming here, because usually we're gonna hit a couple topics. I'm like, I really wish I had a. Oh, good, a beer.
I did
So I
not
always have
pregame
some.
effectively for this interview. I apologize.
No worries at all. So what type? We have Michelle Anderson Ellison. Ooh, mouthful. What specialty dining restaurants does Royal Caribbean offer?
There's a lot. I mean, it's really that's you asked me earlier what are the things we've seen some changes over the years. Especially dining has blown up considerably. I mean, you have the veteran favorite, of course, Chops Grill, which is the Royal Caribbean Steakhouse. You have Giovanni's Table and Jamie's Italian, both of which are Italian food, obviously. You also have one of my favorites, Sabor Modern Mexican, which is available on select ships. It's Mexican food, literally the best Mexican food I've ever eaten anywhere, cruise ship or land. Izumi, which is a Japanese cuisine, sushi. If you like
Hmm.
sushi, it is so good. And that's just a couple of them. I mean, we still have a number of others. Johnny Rockets, there's Chef's Table. So there's a lot of great specialty dining on Royal
Hmm.
Caribbean ships.
So it sounds like you said a wife and kids and another job. So how are you able to balance and juggle everything around?
You know, again, I'm so glad my wife is not in the room for these questions. I just spend my time. This is what I enjoy doing. It's not. I mean, some people say it's a lot of work. I mean, it's a lot of time, sure, but it's not. It's enjoyable to me. I'm not the
Hmm.
kind of guy who goes out there. Let me go mow the lawn. That's enjoy. Some people, men do enjoy doing that. I'm not one of them. I don't enjoy
Nope.
outdoor work or anything like that. This is what I derive
Hmm.
much satisfaction from because it's that interaction, right? It's not just me sitting here and writing things like a monk in the 1400s. We're interacting. You know this, Matt. You get to where you're reading comments right here. I love
Hmm.
that kind of interaction and hearing stories and sharing experiences. I don't know everything, and I get to learn things as well from many of the folks who are right here in the chat, which is amazing. I love that kind of experience. So that makes it all worthwhile.
So, are you able to bring your wife and kids on a lot of ships with you for your little adventures, or how does that work?
Yeah, no, I bring them on pretty much every single cruise. There's only been like two or three they haven't been able to come with me on, but I actually try to bring
Hmm.
them on because they offer different experiences. My kids, I mean, obviously love them. I love cruising with them. They're a lot of fun. They love cruising as well. And also, it helps me from a blog standpoint because I'm not going to be in Adventure Ocean otherwise. I'm not
Hmm.
going to be exposed to some of the things that are family centric, which is obviously very important because families are at the heart of cruising these days.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a big component of it. So I try to bring them on every single cruise as much as possible.
Hmm.
It's a family adventure more than anything.
We have Michael Pohl from Periscope asked, "What's your favorite ship, and what ship do you think is the most kid friendly?"
Ooh, great question. If you asked me like a couple weeks ago, I would have told you it was Navigator of the Seas. But my favorite ship today is Harmony of the Seas. I went on her a couple times a couple weeks ago, and I was amazed, floored by it. And that is my go-to in terms of for families. Certainly they're all great. They all have
Hmm.
wonderful kid facilities. Royal Caribbean's Adventure Ocean program is their complimentary program for children, kids programming. It's amazing all across the entire fleet. With the newer ships, you get more innovations, more larger spaces for the kids. So if you're looking for the one that's going to offer the most for children, by far the newer ships, the Oasis class, the Quantum class ships offer the most. But I brought my kids on the Voyager class ships, and they loved it in there. It's great.
So we have Epcot Bill from Periscope. He asks you about Saber. Does that mean anything, or
Sabor.
Sabor? Yes, sorry.
Yeah, I know. The Mexican restaurant. Like I said, it's one of the best ones. I remember when I went on Navigator of the Seas in like 2014. It was the first ship that had Sabor, and I was like, okay, Mexican. I enjoy a taco as much as the next guy, and I was really amazed by it because it's really authentic. It's not Taco Bell, right? It's not stuff out of a
Hmm.
can or something like that. It is freshly made Mexican food that has a blend of contemporary, favorites like tacos and burritos. That's on the menu, but it also has a lot of uh, new or modern Mexican food that they work into there. And the guacamole alone is worth every penny to eat there. It comes with your meal, and it is just phenomenal.
Hmm. I absolutely love Mexican food. Chinese food might beat it just a little bit, though. They're both
Uh,
up there. And Indian
Chinese is
food,
pretty good.
they're all pretty good. So
Uh,
how many oh gosh, where was that question going? Where was that? There we go. How many cruises do you end up going on each year, do you think?
Probably around 3 to 4. This year was a little bit of an aberration. I tacked on a couple of quickies at the end, but three to
Hmm.
four cruises. Like in 2017, I have 3 cruises booked currently. So we try to maximize our vacation time as much as possible, but that's what I can work out with the day job.
Stephen Pagano asks, RCCL costs more. Why choose them over Carnival? Legit question. Why RCCL?
It's a great question. Again, it goes back to what I said earlier about the balance of what you pay for versus what you get. I mean, Carnival's a massive fleet. So is Royal Caribbean. I mean, we mentioned there's a number of ships in the fleet sailing all over the areas. But I think it's that balance of what you pay for versus what you get. To me, that is
Hmm.
so important because it's about that value, right? That what you're paying, the dollars you're paying are going to be, the most reward bang for your buck, so to speak. And I think Royal Caribbean does a really great job at that.
Carissa Colley asks about some of the previous restaurants you were talking about. Are they upcharges on the ship or are they included?
Some restaurants are included, some are not included. Sabor, Izumi, Chops Girl, those are specialty restaurants,
Hmm.
and they have either cover charges. Most of them are cover charges. Izumi, as an example, is a la carte, so it doesn't cost anything to sit down there. You just pay for what you order. But most are a cover charge, and quite honestly, I mean, they're just tremendous values when you consider how much food you get for that money, because it's really it's amazing, really, when you think about it.
We actually have a question that I haven't seen before. Allison Lawhorn asks again, how does Royal Caribbean ships compare for those with mobility issues? For example, any zero depth entry pools versus climbing vertically in and out of pools?
Great question. Certainly on board the ship, very accessible. There's a number of handicap accessible rooms that are available that you can reserve on board many of the ships, so no issues there. Some of the newer pools I know on the ships, they have the excuse me, and forgive me, I don't know the term for it.
Hmm.
The for people that are wheelchair bound, they'll have the chair they can sit in, and then they swings around and
Hmm.
comes into the pool. So Royal Caribbean is really big on accessibility, making sure everybody, regardless of your special need, can be accommodated on board. So there's a lot going on. I would recommend though, when you're planning your cruise vacation, Royal Caribbean or otherwise, talk with your travel agent and make sure that you understand what the ship offers and the amenities,
Hmm.
because again, the newer the ship, the more amenities they have, the more exposure they're going to have towards obviously going towards that kind of a market. So I would definitely work with the travel agent to make sure that you're picking the right ship for you.
Makes sense. So, a couple things that I do know about Royal Caribbean. They have some specialty drink packages that offer a bit more diversity to choose from compared to Carnival. Can you go in a little bit more detail than that?
Absolutely. So Royal Caribbean actually simplified their drink packages not too long ago. They have now the deluxe beverage package, which is basically it, as Royal Caribbean describes it, it's virtually unlimited drinks, both alcohol and non-alcohol on board. There's very few exceptions to what's covered in there, which is awesome. And it's a daily charge. And the price, the quoted price is $55 per day per person, but no one actually really pays that if you buy it before the cruise because Royal Caribbean is really aggressive with pricing it in terms of discounts via Royal Caribbean's cruise planner. So book your drink package in advance, and if you enjoy, drinks, that comes out to, depending on the discount you get, somewhere in the ballpark of, 5 to 6 drinks a day. That's not too bad when you think about it, and it can really save you a lot of money. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a wonderful value. I used to not be a fan of the drink packages, Matt, just because I was like, that's a lot to drink over the course of a 7-night or more cruise. And then I kind of came around on it, actually, not because of my opinion changed on it. I still do agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I like prepaying the drink package because it allows me to break up the total cost of that cruise. Because at the end of the day, when you get to that last day of the cruise, you're depressed because you're getting off board the ship. You got to go work the next day. And oh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there's that bill waiting on your door. It's like,
The
oh
letter.
boy. Oh boy. It's great to be able to break up that total cost because you already prepaid your drinks. That is a huge X factor, I think, for the drink packages.
Mm. Beth Bean 98 asks, "What's your favorite cabin type to get?" And
I
keep in mind with family and just by yourself too.
oh I always tell people this. I love my kids. I do, but I don't like sharing a room with my children. I need separation from them. They're young. They're 1 and 5 years old. I think anybody with kids who or knows of that age knows exactly what
Mm.
I'm talking about. My favorite room type, honestly, is a Central Park facing balcony. This is only on Oasis class ships. Royal Caribbean has a Central Park area, which is in the middle of the ship. It is literally a open air park, and they built these rooms, these balconies that face there. I love the ambiance of that because of the amazing views and just the opportunity to people watch, the opportunity to check out what's going on there. I mean, I love the ocean, don't get me wrong, but Central Park is just so beautiful, especially at night. They
Mm-hmm.
have the great lighting in there. That's definitely my favorite. And with the kids, we get 2 connecting rooms, and it's a great price because it really doesn't cost a whole lot more.
Peepa Andrew asks, "How are the shows on board? When I went to the carnival shows, they were absolutely packed. So would you recommend pre-booking them beforehand? Can you even do that?"
You can pre-book entertainment on Oasis and Quantum class ships. The other ones are not on other classes of ships. It's not necessarily as important, but the entertainment is phenomenal. Royal Caribbean offers Broadway shows, not Broadway caliber shows. I mean, they actually do offer Broadway shows, right? They offer Mamma Mia, We Will Rock You, Cats, and a number of others. Grease is the brand new one on Harmony of the Seas and Independence of the Seas. So it's really means a lot because I think you know this, Matt. I mean, if you go to a Broadway show, even forget New York, you're just going to the Broadway show in, a traveling show in Atlanta, Georgia, as an example. I mean, for the nosebleed seats, you're paying $60 a head,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
considering it's included in the cost of your cruise, it's amazing. And like anything, I always tell people plan ahead. If you can book it in advance, absolutely book it via cruise planner. It's complimentary to do so. And otherwise, you show up early. The key is
Mm-hmm.
to show up for any show. Show up at least 15 minutes beforehand. You'll usually have a pretty good selection of seats available.
Is there one type of show that you definitely recommend going to over the others?
Oh my gosh! Well, any of the Broadway shows you have to see because
Mm-hmm.
they are really high quality. If you're on an Oasis class ship, any show in the Aqua Theater is really impressive. If you're on a Quantum class ship, any show in 270, I can't even do justice to describe 270 here, but it's a massive arena on the back of the ship. It's a 270-degree view of the ocean, and they do phenomenal shows in there. I love them all. The Love and Marriage game show, which is available on pretty much every single Royal Caribbean ship, is funny every single time. It's a Royal
Mm-hmm.
Caribbean classic. You have to see it.
Nice. So we have a cruising cat who dares someone to ask you what a jeer is. So what's a jeer? Jere?
Do you mean Gerald? Oh, what's a Gerald?
Oh, a
That's an
Gerald.
inside
Sorry,
joke.
there was exclamation points. It looked like an L. What's a Gerald?
What's a Gerald? That's a funny. It's an inside joke. Anyone who we do, as I mentioned, we do periscopes before, and there's someone who's named
Hmm.
Gerald, and somebody who didn't know who Gerald was, like yourself, Matt, goes, "What's a Gerald?" It's some dude's name. You got to be
Inside
careful with those
jokes.
people on Periscope.
Oh gosh. It seems like you have quite a bit of a following. Don't
It's
forget to
fun.
follow us too.
Now you guys know what it's about. It's fun to
Mhm.
have to meet other folks who love talking about cruising. I tell people this all the time. People get married with less in common than people that are right now in your chat in Periscope and on Facebook and all else. We all love cruising. And for
Oh
many of us, we
yeah.
love Royal Caribbean cruising. So to have that kind of a connection already, that's
Mhm.
like, Britney Spears has gotten married with people with less in common than we already have. So Matt, we're like total BFFs now.
Awesome. I need more friends in my life. So we have, let's see, Laura Calvin asks, "What's your favorite type of drink to get on the ship?
Oh my
Alcoholic
gosh.
and alcoholic."
My favorite alcoholic drink, if I'm going on board the ship, got to be a lava flow. It's a pina colada with essentially a fruit syrup that's kind of mixed in, so it looks like
Ooh.
kind of looks like a little flow, like lava coming out of a volcano.
Mhm.
It's amazing. It's a total cruise drink. Has to be that one. If you're talking about a non-alcoholic drink on board, how about anything that comes out of the Coca-Cola freestyle machines that are available on Royal Caribbean ships? These are really cool. And you might have seen them in some other restaurants on land, but they're available on select Royal Caribbean ships. And my go-to is a lime Coke Zero. So good.
Nice. Does everyone in the cabin have to get the drink package, or can only one person get it?
It's a really good question. Actually, no, that's not a rule with Royal Caribbean. So if you and I were staying in the room and you want to get the drink package and I did not, perfectly
Mhm.
fine. That's not a rule in Royal Caribbean.
That was also asked by Michelle Anderson Ellison. Just throwing that out there. So we have Stephen Pagano asks, "Good question. Any exclusives for pregnant people or alcoholics in the room at all?"
I'm not sure I understand the question. Can you repeat it?
Can you go into further details, Stephen, please? And we'll get back to you with that. I was one. Yeah, we'll get back to that. Anyway, Alex Kaufman asks, "What is the demographics of the passengers, like age, type of range?" Because when I went on Carnival, it seemed like it was between 20 to mid 30s, somewhere in that range.
The demographic I think of any ship is going to be dependent on a couple of factors like how long the cruise is. Certainly, a getaway cruise is going to have younger people than a transatlantic 14-night cruise,
Hmm.
right? I
Oh
think it all
yeah.
varies. What I love about Royal Caribbean is that there's usually, by on average, a good mix. There are some young kids, there's families, there's some middle-aged folks, older folks, and that's why I like it. Doesn't skew generally, unless you go on like some really odd itineraries, like again the transatlantics across the industry, you're going to find a little bit of an older crowd there, but for a lot of the 7 nights, it's really a great mix, and that affords the opportunity to meet a lot of different kinds of people, which I love.
Hmm.
I think it's a lot of fun when you're on board these ships. And with Royal, you do get that blend. It's a family cruise line, so you're going to see a lot
Hmm.
of families on board, and I love it. My kids get to meet new friends. I get to meet people that are around my age, give or take. So it's really rewarding.
Have you made quite a bit of friends just by doing this blog?
Oh, absolutely. It's changed my life for the better. And I really mean that. I met so many wonderful people
Hmm.
who have enriched my life because obviously we share a passion for cruising, which is always fun to talk about. But being able to cruise together, go on these cruises and meet each other and hang out and have drinks and share stories, that is really the reward of all of this. I mean, the blog is wonderful and a lot of fun, but the personal connections to me is what makes it worth it every single day for me to go on and say, okay, well, what's new in Royal Caribbean? Let me post about it. I love that, and that is what I really relish the most.
Our Michael Pullman asks, "Are you sailing on the Majesty of the Seas Super Bowl cruise?"
I am not. I wish I had vacation
Hmm.
time. I have 3 cruises next year, but if any time opens up, you never know.
Is it pretty hard to schedule cruises while having a full-time job?
Yeah, just because they don't give me as much vacation time as I'd like. I was looking for
Hmm.
like 6 months of vacation time. That's not really an industry standard, but
Yeah.
it's about. And this is a good tip for anybody out there: maximizing your vacation time. Right? Is figuring out okay, cruise over like Labor Day week where you get a built-in day off, or find holidays that where you already have time. So that way, even though you're cruising for say a week, you're only really taking off a couple days of vacation time. That really makes a big difference in maximizing it. And there's a difference between maybe doing one cruise versus 2 cruises because you have that extra bonus time in there.
Hmm. So, final interview question comes from Ron Hiller. For a first-time cruiser, what's the most important aspect you need to think about when booking your first cruise?
I'm gonna cheat again and give you like 2 or 3 or 8. I'm not sure. Book as early as you can and book with a travel agent. Those are the
Mhm.
two biggest tips I give people. They're kind of intertwined, really. I mean, book as early as you can. The reason why I say that is to get the best possible price. No one wants to overpay for your cruise, and the
Yeah.
best prices are the further out you can do it. 12, 18, 24 months. That's the key. And a travel agent, whether you're brand new or you're someone like me who's booked a number of cruises or whatever, it doesn't matter. Book with a travel agent. You only stand to benefit from it. There's no reason not to, because the cruise line pays them. You don't pay them anything extra. I love
Mhm.
using travel agents and I recommend them every single time.
Nice. So I'm kind of wondering, do you have any questions for us, perhaps?
Matt, my only question for you, dude, seriously, is when are you going to try Royal Caribbean, man?
Ah, soon. Soon, I definitely promise you.
You're going to love it.
So
I
thank
think you're
you
I think you're really
so
going to enjoy it.
much. So can you give us just a countdown question real quick
I'm
for
sorry?
our can you give us a little countdown question for our next cruise? Just like to hear you
Oh,
say
yeah.
that.
How many days till your next Royal Caribbean cruise? Type it in chat right now. Let us count down together.
328 days, 18 hours. Planned this out before. Well, thanks, Matt, so much for coming online. We really enjoyed you. We got a wonderful new knowledge and different intake about Royal Caribbean. Definitely going on one of those in the future. I can't wait.
Awesome. Matt, thank you so much for the invite. It's really flattering to come on here and talk with you guys. Love what you guys do. Thank you so much.
No problem. We'll see you later, bud. Bye.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed our interviewer today. So that was Matt Hochbergs, ladies and gentlemen. So I learned quite a bit amount of Royal Caribbean knowledge that I didn't have before. Okay, moving on. So our next week's guest, we have Javier. So we have Javier coming on from Jamaica. I am so excited. I don't think we've been to Jamaica yet. No, not yet. So I'm really excited to learn more about Jamaica. I really like to know about ecotourism, really about the food. The food is really, that's one of the most important things. Food, then the sciencey aspects, but really concerned about that food. So I can't wait to talk with him. We're gonna have a little promo video coming up with him later on. So our next cruise week, we are doing a wonderful spring break cruise. So this is kind of a intermediate type of cruise where it's going to be March 27th, and we're going to be going with Brewer Travel with Cruise Life. They're the ones who sent us this fabulous shirt, by the way. Oh ship! So our little schedule is Monday, March 27th. We are flying to New Orleans, which I have never been to before, so I'm excited to get there. We'll probably land about, oh gosh, how long does it take to get to Florida, New Orleans? About an hour, so I'm excited to try their food. And then we have a wonderful day at sea. Then our first stop is Cozumel. After that, we're going to the Yucatan. Another cruise day before we go back to New Orleans. So I'm super, super excited about that. Do you guys pronounce it New Orleans or New Orleans? Try to spell it phonetically in chat and let me know about that later on in the comments below. Super excited to try all the food. I don't think I've been to the Yucatan before either, so again, I'm super excited to try some more Mexican food. And I ran out of hot sauce from Belize, so I'm definitely going to have to stock up. If you guys like hot sauce, give us a like and let us know, because I don't know many people who like hot sauce besides me. So, Cruise Week Season 2, we are actually trying to get some funds for that. Our funding goal is $15,000 to get on 5 first new time cruises, both boys and girls. We're trying to get 2 guys, 2 girls, and then either a guy or girl, but they have to be a YouTuber. Someone that's pretty well known to come along with us. And I am so excited. I think my favorite part is to be with some newcomers just because I was that new person and I can give them a little bit of advice, but it's kind of good to see other people having some of the same struggles that I've had there. So I'm super excited for Cruise Week Season 2, and that's coming up on March 29th for the Carnival Vista. I'm super excited about that. So we're going to play a quick little promo video for Season 2.
Hey there, I'm Matt, and we're back for Cruise Week Season 2. Last season was amazing. Back then, I was just a newbie to cruising, and I went with cameraman Zach and 4 of my friends on our first ever cruise. We took you all along with us, and we showed you the fun and antics we got up to, and the rookie mistakes we made, as we tried to learn all about life on a cruise ship. I have to say, it was quite the learning experience. With thousands of people watching live and giving us advice, helping and guiding us through the voyage, we made it. And I think we got a little addicted, so we are back. In season 2, we're gonna do things a little bit differently. I am no longer the newbie, but will be hosting 5 other new cruisers, both male and female, as they set sail on their first ever cruise. We have already gotten permission from both Carnival and Royal for unrestricted access to host Cruise Week on their ships, and I'm totally looking forward to it. This season we're planning to come back bigger and better than ever, with more of the unforgettable moments you can only get at sea. With even better cameras and internet, we'll be able to involve you more, both on and off the ship, as we follow our 5 first-time cruisers from their first steps on till they return 7 days later. In season 2, we'll be changing it up by letting you vote on who gets to be on the cruise with us. We'll be accepting applications from first-time cruisers, and when we have narrowed it down to 20 hopefuls, you will be able to watch their interviews and application videos. Then you get to vote on the final 5. Our cameras are going to take you behind the scenes, showing you 7 days through the eyes of our new cruisers as they interact with guests and crew and experience everything that cruising has to offer, giving you unprecedented access to one of the world's biggest cruise lines. With 2 cameramen and myself as the host, we'll be able to improve on our already amazing response and make season 2 better than ever. Of course, we can't do this without your support, so we're asking you to help make season 2 a reality. With your help, we can achieve our funding goals and start our interview on our next round of applicants. Thank you so much for your support in helping us make Cruise Week Season 2.
Hey guys, so if you guys want to help us support, you can go to cruising.tv/support. Even $1 helps us out a little bit, and we really appreciate it. Each one has a couple different monumental values where we can also get back to you guys. So check those out at cruiseweek.tv/support. So again, if you just want to send us some random stuff for our studio, it's kind of bare. We've already had a couple props being sent to us. So we have a hat and a little map in the back. We're trying to feng shui everything so it doesn't all fall on me while I'm talking, both from Ken Jordan. If you guys see anything around that is cruising related that you kind of want to add to our studio, feel free to send us at the wonderful address linked below. Well, not really linked, but it's below. So yeah, we will also give you a wonderful shout out. Again, this is from Cruise Life. Pretty cool shirt. We also got a lanyard. Boom. For my keys. And another shirt in red to match my wonderful hair. Okay, guys. So I am out of beer, which is always an issue for the show. So tell us what you got. Who do you guys want to see next on the show? Let us know in the comments below. Give us a like on Facebook. Give us a share if you really enjoyed us. Leave us comments. We always love reading comments. We'll get back to your comments after the show is even over because we care about you guys that much. So without further ado, like us on Facebook, follow us on Periscope, and we will see you back next Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. As always, guys, we'll see you on the ships.